Bunkers. We are back. For our producer, good Jay. My microphone's still doing that thing, or it's adjusting, but that's all right. So, thank you everybody for joining. I just gotta keep beating the button, I guess. Thank you everybody for joining us here today. I hope I don't sound quieter, but I thought we. But anyways, thank you everybody here for joining today. Really rough game. Obviously, we're gonna be talking about all that. The tears have been. They're still flowing. At my end, 28-13. We're up 13 at 10 at half. Decided to pack our bags up and go home on offense in the second half. We'll be talking about all that. Before we do on Big Z, let's get to the rest. We got UJ.
Hello, everybody.
And Red Dog.
Yo!
All right. So, gentlemen, the Lions, as I mentioned, don't start off the game hot in the first quarter. Down 10-0. Comeback scored 13 in the second quarter. And they're looking really good. All the momentum going into halftime. Nice drive, touchdown pass to Josh Reynolds. And then Julian Aquara gets a sack. They don't call intentional grounding, even though it was about one of the more obvious intentional groundings you'll see in the NFL. And then the Lions decide to go offsides on 4th and forever, which is exactly what the Bears were hoping for. And then they throw a deep pass downfield because, it's a free play. And DJ Moore is wide open, gets absolutely toasted. Jerry Jacobs gets toasted by DJ Moore for the second long touchdown pass the Lions have given up against DJ Moore. And then the Lions fumble away the ball to the Bears to say, here you go. We don't want the ball back yet. It's not our turn. You guys still get another chance. And then the game just kind of falls apart from there. The offense cannot respond in the second half whatsoever. So
no response.
What is wrong with the Lions in the third quarter, you guys? Especially our offense. Our offense constantly comes out extremely flat. I feel like we have a 3 and out almost every game in the third quarter.
Well, the good news is we're about to be out of the third quarter of the season, so that's good. We're into the fourth quarter.
Oh boy,
I don't know. It is a weird thing. It's hard to. It's probably a mentality or something like where they think something's working and they just don't. I don't know. It's hard to say. That's when it's just got to be coaching, right? Like the coaches are not anticipating the team's moves. Their adjustments. So it's a weird thing, but I can't put my finger on it.
It makes you wonder if the Bears chose to receive first just so the Lions would come out flat in the third quarter because they knew they would, it's strange. It's unbelievable how they come out so flat. This is a chance they had a good momentum in the second quarter, and then to come out like that with a quick 3 and out and just turn momentum right over to the Bears. It was, I don't know. It's hard to explain, Big Z. I wish I had an answer for that one.
Part of the problem for me and not just that drive, but the whole second half, the Lions seem to get away from the run game. Only 24 carries in this game, 11 by Gibbs, 10 by Montgomery. And then they go back to it like when they need to start throwing in the fourth quarter. Like there's 8 minutes left.
That was the thing, though. That wasn't the first sequence play, like run, pass, like run for no gain, pass. It was something like that, though.
I don't know.
They just suddenly got stuffed. Honestly, I felt like the run was getting stuffed and they tried to pass, or like they didn't try to pass. They should have played some play action.
Are you talking about the second half?
I'm going to say this, yes, I am talking about the second half.
He came out with a pass play. It was a bootleg that went for no gain, incomplete pass, and then they ran Gibbs, 2 up the middle. Then they ran 2 up the middle and had to punt.
I don't know. All the 3 and outs just started to blur together because there's so many. But I will say I have one theory that's really, and I've kind of mentioned this before, and I think what teams are getting onto is like we attack the deep part of the field a lot, but what we don't attack is the deep sideline of the field. I haven't seen a single we run one vertical route to JMO today, but they get pressure, so it
that was on short. The first. That was on that first. The 3 and out of the third quarter there.
Oh, that was the deep.
And that was a bad block by Montgomery. Montgomery holds his block. Goff. JMO had his guy beat by 2.5 steps.
it's that classic thinking you got a kill shot, but these guys are super athletes, and he just knocked them kind of to the side instead of off his feet. And yeah, it was a bad block. But like that was the one time though, and J-Mo was there. I would have gone right back to that same freaking play, but we got to be enforcing our will, because I think what's happening so much is these defenses starting to settle into the places where Jared Goff likes to go, which is the middle of the field. And they're sitting all their guys, they're stopping, they're playing up on the run, and they're sitting their safeties in like the deep interior. They're not even scared of the sidelines, because like we don't go deep sidelines on like verticals. You gotta just have plays that are designed to step back and have Jared Goff just heave that ball as far as he can for J-Mo, and no like, but what are they giving us? No, you gotta just force your will, and that's what's driving me crazy. Ben Johnson is way too passive in the way he attacks the field. He's not enforcing our will in the pass game. He tries to on the run game, I'll give him that, but he does not enforce their will at all in the pass game, and that's frustrating. I think
agree.
that's letting us be predictable.
Especially with having a guy like J-Mo too. And the one time he does get open, there's a little pressure, so he can't really step into the throw. He's kind of, back footing it and couldn't put his whole arm into it. But this also adds a perception that Goff can't throw the deep ball too. I mean, because I'm just saying it adds to the perception. All right, I'm not saying he can't do it, but it still adds to it. And also adding to it is, why don't we do it once in a while?
Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they're just lulling everyone into.
I have a more general question I was thinking of during the game, and it's kind of been on my mind. Are the Lions not developing J-Mo well? No,
I don't think that's the case.
I just don't think they're. Is it just bad play calling? I just feel if you put J-Mo on some of these, like if you put him on, I don't know, the Eagles or something like that, or the Cowboys. Even the 49ers. You see more of his abilities shown than what we see in the offense so far.
I think it's a decision. I don't think it's a matter of his development. I think it's a matter of the coaches not being like, they're not manufacturing plays for him. They're not creating, like, they had one design touch to him today, like, and great, like on a reverse. It was okay, it's predictable because we've done it a few times. But like, he got a few yards. It wasn't a bad play. But like, why? He's so damn fast. Like, you gotta have plays that just are designed to get the ball in his hands. Where's the screens designed to him? Like, we keep throwing it out to Monty, and like his hands are all right, but like he's dropped a few lately, and like, why? Like, you could do so many things to get the ball in his hands.
Amon-Ra?
Monty.
Oh, like, Monty. Yeah, like, his hands are not great.
Not great. Like, they're fine when you get them on like a screen or something, but like that one over the middle, it didn't matter because it was a false start. But like he drops that. Like, he dropped the one last week against the Saints. I just don't losing a little trust in his hands. But I'm just saying, like, you gotta wait. He's so damn fast. Get the ball in his hands. There's so many ways. So I don't think it's a matter of he's not developing. I just think they're not making a conscious enough effort to make him important in the game. And that could be a weird seniority thing, like, because Amon-Ra and all these other guys are technically ahead of him, but I don't get that. I just don't get it.
No.
You got to get that guy involved. He's a deadly weapon. He's a weapon of mass destruction. He can take over games with speed.
And the Lions traded up for him, so they're like heavily invested. It is really very strange.
Well, I think that's Ben Johnson. He's got to stop just turning this offense into take what they'll give you, and sometimes you just got to go take what they won't give you. I mean, like, you just got to take it. Like, and we don't have that kind of aggression in this offense, in the pass game at least. Like, our run game is amazing. Like, what we pull off sometimes, like we do things with our run game that most teams would never dream of, like converting on third and long and stuff. And, oh, my God, I just got to say this because that cut by Monty at the end during that last drive, where we actually kind of had a drive going, and he got the ball going left and like made a sick cut to get across and gain like 12 yards on third and like 12. That was so sick.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous sometimes. Like, oh my gosh.
And we did have like 130 some yards against the number one rush defense in the
average 5.8 yards a carry.
Right. So yeah, we did that.
That's what I'm saying. They got away from it, I thought, a little bit.
Yeah. There were times when, like, for instance, that 4th down and 1 from our own 30 when Campbell should have probably punted. But okay, you need 1 yard. What are we going to do? Some stretched out long play to give the Bears defense plenty of time
to muster.
It had to be something hard and fast or a pass or something. But no, they ran a stretch play, and that was just blown up. A bad play call. It was I put a
good
lot
play
of
call. I like the Laporta handoff.
That was good.
He's so dynamic with the ball in his hands. Like, I think he could actually be a weapon in that capacity, like a real one. Like, he could basically be another running back the way he runs with the ball, and maybe even one you use down the stretch to like wear teams down, you know. But that was a really cool, exciting play to see.
But aside from some of the execution problems, I think Ben Johnson did have not a great game calling plays today. It was a rough game for him.
I mean, and you know, it's like everything. There was plenty of blame to go around on that offense. Goff deserves blame. The O-line deserves blame. Receivers deserve blame. Again. Like, how many drop passes? Like, Amon-Ra, what has happened to him today? Like, I think, like, I don't know. It's something about he was thinking the wrong things today. Like, he even his pregame interviews, like, during the week, I think he had too much about, like, what was going to happen in the podcast after the game in his head or something. I don't know. But, like, he was not himself today. Well, he even mentioned, like, oh, God, like, you know, it was really good last week, like, for the podcast. Because they asked him about his podcast with his brother and stuff. I don't know. I think there was a little bit of a distracting game for him. It was not his best effort, and he let balls that normally would have caught and bounced right out of his hands.
Yeah. I think just kind of big picture, I think this team's sort of up against a little plateau, a wall here, if you will, whatever.
Yeah.
It's hard being the team that's being chased. They've won a lot of games this year. You know, it puts a lot of pressure on them, whether they think it does or not. It does,
sure.
And it's pressures on the coaches to keep doing it, on the players to keep doing it. There's a tendency to tighten up a little bit, you know, when you get this lead and you're not playing free and loose. Like the Bears have nothing to lose. They're playing wide open, free and loose, kind of like we did last year at the end of the year when, you know, it didn't matter who we played, man. We were just like balls to the wall. They didn't care about anything. I mean, they didn't really care about the score. They just didn't care. They were just playing free as they can be. And now they're not. They're playing a little tight. And
that's a really good point, UJ.
That was actually on my mind as well, UJ. My thought was,
like, they're about as tight as the people in our chat during the game, like, who are like, every time something goes bad,
yeah.
But, like, the offense struggled today. I'm going to put this game mostly on the offense. I know the defense didn't play perfect, but I think, can we switch defense now, Z? Do we feel?
Z, finish your point, though. You had
a point? Sorry.
Yeah, he was talking about
his sound's going in, so I didn't hear.
Oh, okay. Are you there, Z? Are you there? Is he there?
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Can you hear me?
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Wait. Yep.
You can hear me, yes or no?
Yes. At the moment, yes.
Sometimes your lips move and then the sound comes a second later.
Well, I don't know. Some goofy's going on my computer. The microphone's doing the adjusting thing. So if you're on the podcast, apologize. Or on the YouTube, apologize as well. I don't know what's going on.
The Lions post-game show had a really wonky sound today, too. So maybe that's just going around.
Well, it's all around bad performances here right now today from the line all the way down to the people that podcast.
We're part of the team too.
But no, the point I was thinking of today, a little after the game was the team. Like, which team would you take? The team at the end of last season that we saw, or this team right now? I don't know. That kind of concerns me to a degree. We saw like a team that was constantly improving all the way to the end of the season last year, and this year, right now, we're seeing a team that's not getting better.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do a little history lesson here, or reminder, just because the context is needed. We also had 6 losses before we started said progression. So, let's not forget the crucial part that we had pretty much already burnt through our losses at the beginning of the season before we turned things around.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just saying this team is on a whole nother level than last year's team in certain ways. I agree. At the end of last year, we were hot. We had certain key things going for us, like James Houston coming out of nowhere to be a sack specialist.
But isn't this part of the progression of a winning team? All right. I'm sorry.
Take over, UJ.
Sorry, Road Dog. I thought you were finished your point there.
I thought he was up too.
I was trying to slip in there. Go ahead.
You slipped in, all right.
I slipped in too early, apparently.
No, but like last year we started off like shit. And this year we've been at a nice steady pace. We haven't put together 2 losses in a row yet this year. We're 9-4. This defense has had struggles, but has played winning football in the most important parts of most games. Our offense has been elite for most of the season. Today our offense let down. But yeah, no, at the end of last year we were hot as hell and we looked really good. I think we could look like that in the next 4 games too. I think that's very feasible, especially because the thing that stuck out to me today was that defense. That defense showed me some seriously encouraging signs today. But go on.
Okay. Go ahead, Z.
No, UJ, you're the one I was going to say.
No, I was just my point was to be in terms of a team becoming a winning team. That's Campbell was trying to teach these guys how to win. First was just win 1 game, then it was win a road game, then it was win 2 in a row. And teaching them how to win. Well, in the big picture, winning in a long 17-game season, and then you're winning your division. You're the one being chased. It's always easier being the chaser than the one being chased. And this is where the really good teams have to. This is the hurdle they have to climb. When they're ahead, it's at the end of the season. It's crunch time, and all these teams are playing. They have nothing to lose. Every game becomes harder and harder. This is what they have to learn right now. This is what they're learning right now, and I think they'll get there. I think they'll forge through this. They'll win a couple of these next games, and we'll be in the playoffs. So we'll win the division. But this is a hurdle they have to fight through. They have to learn how to play loose and free.
Yeah.
And under these circumstances, with all the stress on them right now, trying to win the division, hold on, and all this stuff, they got to put that out of their minds somehow, and just play loose and like they were before.
Yeah, because especially the offense today, it was just so sloppy. It was sloppy, like a lot of false starts, penalties.
The
Lions really, really need Frank Ragnow back, at least for the playoffs. If he's not going to, maybe just sit him to the rest of the. See, they can't sit the rest of the season. They need him badly. We just don't have depth of that right guard spot. It's rough.
The good thing is, and like this is an easy thing to forget too, is that players are progressing. Like a guy like Awisaka, or I forget how to say it, Awasakio Sawikawa.
Yeah, I forgot how to pronounce it.
Awisikawawawi. I mean, like guys like him are getting reps and experience in these games.
That's nice.
And that that's nice. Like I mean that's huge though. Like you got to develop their talent developing. Like every game is a battle that makes them puts another little peg in their corner that's they'll build on towards the end of the season. And we still got 4 regular season games to go. And like I think these guys are just gonna keep growing. Like, and that's where if we do get Ragnow back, and then we got even more experienced backups. I mean, I just think like there's a lot of silver lining. Can we go to the defense now? Because I really want to talk about this defensive performance.
All right, we can talk about it. Sure.
Because I think this scoreboard does not reflect how well they played today.
To a degree.
Like, no, obviously they weren't perfect. They gave up some big plays, like the touchdown pass. That was a bad call on 4th and long to just send the house and leave Jerry on an island with
who jumped off sides?
Hutch
did. I mean, it didn't matter, but Hutch did.
It did matter. That's why they threw the ball deep.
Yeah, it was a free play.
You don't think they threw it deep because he was wide open?
They might not even have snapped it if he didn't go off sides. They snapped it after he went off sides.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were going to snap the ball unless somebody went off sides.
Oh, okay.
Got exactly what they wanted.
I didn't think about that. Like I just figured
it was moronic. It pisses me off.
Me too.
It pissed Hutch off, and he was devastated after listening to the interview. He was really pissed today. Hey, look, I mean, yeah, he made a mistake, but like that defense showed something today, and you saw it if you were paying attention. Where Fields broke out for a couple, but like only a couple. And you watched. There was one point in that game. It was like towards the end of the first half where Fields was back, had a lot of time, and the pass rush was starting to collapse and was getting in on him. And he like kind of rolled, and like the whole thing moved with him. and everyone was in their lanes. He had nowhere to go. Like everything closed down. The pass rush was like miles ahead of where it's been in previous, and I think that's a mega breakthrough for this defense, because my theory on why a part of why this defense struggles so much is that Glenn demands a lot. He has a demanding scheme that demands a level of execution that is not easy to pull off. It's very coordinated and detail oriented. You have to play the run on the way to the pass, and it's just really hard to execute. And I think our personnel has struggled with it thus far. But today they showed something. Kamish was an animal out there. He was
had his best
finally
game of the
being
year
the
by
guy
far.
we thought he would be this year. Hutch got home for a sack finally. Like the blitzes were a little more effective. Like the whole scheme looked way better. I mean, yeah, we had our plays where we, got stalled and he made plays, but like it was a breakthrough today. I think the defense really stepped up and gave that our offense plenty of opportunities to win that game. Our offense just dropped the ball completely today. Our defense showed up.
Right before that 4th and forever, the Lions did get screwed by just an awful officiating call.
Horrible call.
Yeah.
I mean, just the offsides is moronic. Well, so was
Wait, so like I want to go over that because
intentional grounding. I mean, it was clear as
It was
day.
an obvious.
But
So
They said
what
it
did
was
they call
caused
it?
by the. They said it was caused by the hit.
did
That
they
was
call
not
it
the case.
an incomplete pass?
yes.
Oh, I didn't have sound.
What do you think it was?
hard to
Yeah. What
calculate
do you
all-
think they called it?
A sack or a fumble. I didn't realize they call it incomplete pass. Oh my god! See though, that's playing the refs. That's nothing new. That's no
Yeah,
excuse. But like the refs were shit today.
No, I
Like,
mean it was still 4th
they were
and
total
13.
homers.
But it
Oh, I like
would have been 4th
like
and
how
20.
Anzalone got a personal foul on that one where it was a very borderline late hit out of bounds. I still think his 1 foot was in bounds when he hit the guy, but like then he got mugged on the sideline by like the whole team, and they just called it on him. Like that sideline was downright like ridiculous. They shoved him in the back, and like they were like 20 guys around him, and they didn't call anything on that sideline. Those refs were homers today, but that's not an excuse. It was our offense that let us down today. I think this defense showed something today that gives me a lot of hope for the future, which is that we can generate pass rush and contain a mobile quarterback, for the most part.
Well, that's what I was encouraged by too. Is when Fields in the beginning of the game ran against us like at will, like he'd done in the previous games, except I think it was probably, I don't know, it was midway through the second quarter, whenever they suddenly shut down Fields. He could not run, and they had several runs designed for Fields, and he was getting shut down for no gain or a loss.
Most notable, the hit Derek Barnes laid on him was nice.
Oh, that was
that was
sweet.
dirty.
That was sweetness.
That was good to see.
There were
It was
two
nice
monster hits in this game. That one on Fields, and then
Hanzo.
who on the receiver? Someone just smoked him. It was
Anzalone.
was that Anzalone?
Trucked him straight head on, like after
Yes.
Hutch missed the tackle at in the
Right.
backfield.
Yeah.
It was
that
Anzalone.
that was a terrific juke by that running back, but it was a good play by Hutch for the most part. Until
Not
he
even a
missed the
juke. He
tackle.
just
went under
he's
him.
Tiny.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just flipped him. I mean,
And
it was really
Anzalone
good contained by Hutch.
smoked him. That was beautiful.
Oh, it was sick.
So they are playing with aggression and they're playing hard.
I thought the defense.
I don't think you
looked-
can say they're not.
this
but
was
yeah,
their best
it
game
looked
of the
Rudd,
season.
to your point, I agree with you generally. It was a step up for our defense in this game. And then
in certain key categories, like mainly the pass rush. Okay, I mean, look,
I just want to caveat it. This is a bottom 5 offense in the NFL. So
Oh my God, whatever. No, they're not. They're playing like, okay, let's pull the argument everyone loves to pull the last several games, right? Like, and just ignore the season. They aren't playing like a bottom 5 offense lately. I mean, they're playing good. They're like they got good
they are.
players. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter.
They barely scratched out double digits against the Vikings. So no longer. Like
Okay, and what did the Saints scratch out against the Vikings today?
they didn't play
they
him
didn't play
today.
him.
So.
Or
me.
who played them?
The Raiders with a
What did they
rookie
scratch
quarterback?
out? 0
None.
points. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. The
sure
point is, you can only play the games you're playing against. Comparisons in football are like a major path to folly. Because every time you try to be like, oh, look at how they played against this team and blah blah blah, it always fails you. I bet people picked the Patriots to lose this week. I bet that was a pretty common bet. But look what they did. the
Yeah,
fact
it
is,
happens.
football in the NFL is literally every given Sunday, and all you can think about is the matchup in front of you. And today, the Bears got the better of us, but the defense really showed something that we haven't seen from them in a while, which is that under the circumstances, under the criteria that Glenn puts on them, they were able to generate pass rush without sacrificing rush lanes and letting a quarterback break out on them regularly. And that's a huge milestone for this defense because that's been our biggest weakness, bar none, on this entire team. Everyone knows it's our pass rush. It's like, can you anything else that you're more concerned about on this team for all you people that worry?
Jerry Jacobs.
You're more worried about Jerry than our pass rush?
No, I mean I've always said the pass rush is the most important thing for a defense.
Yeah. So, but like, are you more worried about Jerry or our pass rush?
I guess the pass rush. Jerry's close second though.
Jerry also made a really great play today.
He made one good one. Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Jay? Anything besides our pass rush that you're more concerned about?
The offense.
Okay, God. Now you're more concerned about the offense.
I am.
This is so
I am at
fickle.
the moment. I am.
Like, okay.
I don't agree with
all
your
you're
notion that
worried-
you shouldn't compare. That's ridiculous. I think you have to compare. How do you measure yourself?
Like, okay,
that doesn't
like,
make any
we
sense.
beat teams.
That's what a
and when
record
those-
is. A record is a comparison amongst others.
It's this idea that because we beat this one team and then when they play another team and they beat them, that means something. It doesn't. Those games every game is its own unique game, and you can't look at it against comparisons to how teams played against other teams. Like, there's just differences that don't matter when you make those comparisons, and they always end up with silly analysis that goes wrong. And this is true. I guarantee you can think of times where you've been like, oh, well, this team destroyed this team, so like they must be really great, but then we destroyed this team, so we must be better than that team. And then you realize it's all nonsense, and every game and every team stands on their own merits of their record, not the comparisons to how teams did against other teams and who they beat and who those teams beat. Like, so what? The Bears have a low-rated defense. Well, guess what? What did our offense do to help our defense today?
Nothing. I didn't say they did.
So, like, it's not like this offense went off on our defense today. They had a couple good drives, and mostly we held them to field goals. I mean, it wasn't like our defense just got shredded today.
Well, our interior D-line leaves a lot to be desired still. They're the ones that gave up the rushing lanes of fields, especially early in the game. On those third and longs. Our DNs actually did their job. The D tackles just got completely washed out down the middle, which is just can't happen. They really miss Aleem McNeil, and he's on the IR. Who knows when he's going to be coming back now? So that's for the IL.
Early, though. What about later? Are we just going to forget about what they did after that? You're just going to hold on to the first couple breakouts? And
I'm not, but
do after that?
Are you saying the first half in the first quarter doesn't matter either? Do we just throw that out the window too? I mean, the argument goes both ways. Road dog.
No, but the overall of that game was they generally settled down and really put, some serious brakes on that Bears offense today. And if it wasn't for the offense, I think we win that game. Like, if we had any offense today outside of 2 drives, we probably win that game. The offense sucked today. Like, outside of 2 drives, they sucked. The defense played. They battled. They made plays. They had a turnover on downs. They made plays. The defense or the offense did crap.
You can't win the game with a -3 turnover again.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Horrible.
It's Goff,
So
bad interception.
Because I know that offense is better than that. And I know this defense is finally showing the right signs.
Yeah, the interception was bad. The fumble was bad.
Um,
First interception.
I mean, yes, Red Dog, it was a step in the right direction. But I mean,
Much rather
I
have to win, of course. But
I would like it would be nice to see it. We'll see if we see it 2 weeks in a row. I mean, 28 points, like you said, doesn't describe the whole thing. I just thought it was an okay defensive performance. I wouldn't call it like a great defensive performance by any means.
no, it wasn't great. But it just showed serious progression in our most concerning category. That's all. And I think it leaves me more encouraged because I would like it just the signs haven't been there, right? Like, I'm as optimistic as it gets, but these last, like, however many weeks, this defensive pass rush has looked like it won't ever win a battle again in sack category. Like they just haven't even gotten close. They're like Hutch is like battling against like everybody and just getting pressures, but not even close to sacks. Today they finally showed the ability to actually wreck the O-line and get in there. Like it was just, thank God, it's just been so long. Like
doesn't Hutch remind you of a ballerina sometime? He just spins and spins.
He spins
too much. And
spins.
We talked about that.
He just spins and spins. And then
and they're all ready for it. Oh, he's going that way. He must be spinning back this way.
No, he only spins one way.
Julian Aquaras, that was a great pass rush.
Yeah, just get low and get up.
Yeah.
He got so low he fell to the ground, but he got up and like he got past his guy just enough.
He popped off that ground like it was hot lava, though. Like, damn, he was down for like the tiniest instant.
That was a really.
I think Campbell continues to look pretty good.
He's getting ready for breakout.
I think he's playing a lot better in the last couple of weeks.
He's gonna start making plays soon, I think, because he's like, I mean, he makes plays, but like they're very like standard, like tackles and running to the ball. But like I think he's gonna be coming closer and closer to turnovers and explosive plays.
Our secondary still gives me a lot of. I mean, like we've mentioned this before, like pass rush and secondary.
What about Vildor?
But you know, actually, you know, had a great game today in his limited snaps is Jalen Reeves-Maben.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, he did.
He's not out there a ton, but when he did, he was great.
He's like a dynamo when he gets out there.
I'm pretty sure he was the spy on that 4th down when he batted it down. I think he was sitting there waiting to chase Fields out of the backfield. And I love him as a spy because he's an absolute heat-seeking missile, like on special teams and everything. Like that's a perfect for his skill set. He's Definitely. A fast, big linebacker. Like I love his involvement because I've always felt like he was one of those guys that just needed more opportunity to really contribute to the defense because I think he's a good player.
Interesting to see Iffy out there more today. Over Tracy Walker,
and he made a couple of plays too. A couple of nice plays.
He's more physical safety, at least now. I mean, Tracy Walker just isn't not quite the same since his injury. He's just it seems like a half a step slow. And the other guy that that was the other guy. I mean, he made a nice play, but he just I thought we'd see a little more out of him this year than we've seen thus far. Especially from a ball hawking standpoint.
Kirby, you talking about?
Yeah,
guys like him.
Yeah, I agree.
Pass rush, though.
I agree.
Guys like him, ball hawks need pass rushes to make their plays typically, at least to make them frequently, and that's just been non-existent for too long this year.
Yeah, he was supposed to have the big breakout year, but he's been pretty quiet for the most part.
Really quiet, almost an afterthought in a lot of these
games. His last pick was against the Bears.
Made a nice play today, broke up a play in the end zone, which is really nice. He made a few plays today. So
there were some, like, the defense is not perfect, and I'm not even trying to put it in like above average. It's just a solid average defense. And today, though, they showed I just needed some sign that, like, if we're gonna make because you look at our division, look at the Packers, look at the Bears, the things that you see out of them are their pass rushes are pretty fucking vicious. Like, who they got? Rashawn Gary and those other dudes over in Packers, they're rough to protect. And now with Sweat on the Bears and like their defensive pass rush is pretty nasty. And that like a pass rush can make up for so much. And our pass rush has just not been what we've expected it or hoped it would be this year.
I mean, and part of the problem is the Lions have invested in second-round picks that have not panned out, especially from a pass rush standpoint. And Pascal's and Levi and Muzarike.
Oh my
Levi,
God,
I don't have any comment. But Pascal's becoming a player. He was in there on a couple plays today. He's not. I don't think they ever expected him to be a super. Well, maybe eventually a super dynamic pass rusher. But
Pascal
he's more
didn't report a stat today. So, yes, he did. Sorry, he assisted on a tackle.
I mean, he was getting pressures though. I noticed him getting some pressures. I think he's coming along. I'm not crowning him or anything yet, but I think he's developing. He's getting the reps to learn and grow. I still think he's going to be a hell of a player. He's got some really excellent traits that I think in the right attitude, he's going to get better.
Well, it's going to be an interesting assessment this offseason because like Z said, that
Cephas is going to be a Hall of Famer, Red Dog.
Who's that?
I'm just talking about
Still
this
possible,
optimism
man.
on all these players.
I know.
Sorry, UJ. I think I cut you off. I think it was like,
No, it's okay. I just said they're going to have to take a
You're
long, hard
pessimist.
look at this, especially the defense. And you're right. See, some of these second round picks have not been panning out. You guys that we're hoping to get some good rush from. It's not that we haven't been addressing the position in the draft; they're just not panning out.
yeah, they're gonna have to reconsider maybe how they approach the defense line. Like, is it through free agency rather, or
Yeah, I mean, like these players are like okay players. They're good role players, I think, but we need someone dynamic, someone who's gonna like be a game changer. We aside from Hutch, we don't have those people on that D
Charles
line.
Harris wasn't even active today.
That
Thank
doesn't.
God, because he hasn't done anything.
I didn't know he was still on the team. I mean,
Honestly,
when's the last time you heard his name called on anything?
Julian's more promising right now than him. Anyway.
Yeah.
I want to see him get more reps because
Me too.
At least Julian has that splash factor. Like, I know he's lacking consistency, and that's been his biggest problem. But at least he has that ability when he puts it together to really kind of pop off. Whereas, we don't really have too many of those guys outside. Like, I was really surprised Bohannon and Irvin sat today.
Yeah.
Especially after Irvin came on strong. I think they're saving Irvin for a playoff push because that's the only reason you signed old guys like that.
I think the only reason they didn't come up is because Bohannon would have had to be on the main roster. If they brought him up, he'd have to have been on the 53-man roster. So they had to promote him. They can't pull him off the practice squad anymore because they did for 3 games already. Irvin, maybe they're holding him out for the last couple of games of the season. I don't know.
I'm confused.
You get 3
on the practice squad.
You get to be pulled up from the practice squad 3 times, and after that, if you're pulled up, you're on the 53-man roster, and you pay it accordingly. Bohannon's been pulled up 3 times, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Irvin's been pulled up once, and he was effective, but maybe they're holding him out to the last couple of games of the season. I don't know.
You don't make the Von Miller on the Bills mistake last year and start leaning on a guy like that because you want that pass rush. Like they used Von Miller they tried to turn him into like a full on starter and he got injured. Like he picked the wrong team. You picked mercenaries.
I think he was injured in the first game of the year. So
no, it was. Well, was it? No, it wasn't. Last
it was
year?
really early. Yeah.
But fine. Still the wrong. They used him too much. I don't think it was that early though. They were using him as a full-on starter. And when you get a guy like that, he's supposed to be your closer. They're old. You don't put them for full games to get beat up during the season. You put them in for specific scenarios where you want to enhance their best traits to get after the quarterback. And if you're leaning on old guys like that in the league, your team's not as good as you thought it was. I mean, and the Bills weren't as good as everyone thought they were last year. So, I'm just saying, you don't want to get your guys like that hurt. They're supposed to be the guys that help you get over the hump in the Super Bowl and all that. They're not supposed to be the guys that win you regular season games during the meat of the game. Maybe to close out games, but not to, get you to the end of the game from the beginning to start. Those are for your young boys to Hutch and stuff to just be out there all the time.
I'll stand corrected. It was about the 8th or 9th game he got injured last year.
Thank you.
That wasn't a first game.
But that just tells me you picked the wrong team. Those guys sign to these Super Bowl contenders because they're not supposed. They're supposed to be somewhat almost superfluous, that thing that makes you extra good, not the thing that makes you competitive in the first place. And he was used way too much. And I'm glad we're not using Irvin too much.
To pay him
$20
million a year, so
yeah,
it'd be weird if they didn't use him a lot. No.
They were expecting him to be a game-changing player.
I would use him at the end. I would know if I had Von Miller as a middle-aged Von Miller, whatever you want to call it, quarterback old man. A football old man version. You save him for the right times, and you try to keep him healthy at all costs because he is a game changer. But you don't want his tire. He already has got so much mileage. You're just gonna run him into the ground too early, and they did.
Well, to point out some good in this game, I thought Jahmyr Gibbs looked good again.
He's looking so.
He looks so dynamic, especially in the run game. I wish we'd use him more in the pass game, especially over the middle.
Another Ben Johnson criticism.
Yeah. Donovan Peoples-Jones made a great catch on 4th down. That was also a nice pass, but also a great catch.
Yes.
So hopefully we see more out of him there. I thought Sam Laporta made a couple nice catches. I'm trying to think of the good.
He
on the
only made
offense.
2.
You having a hard time there, Z?
Well, I mean, Monty had some dope runs for sure.
Yeah, we mentioned those.
There were some.
But like, can we just talk about Jameer? Because like his patience combining with his explosiveness is becoming more and more deadly. Like, I know Barry's a high bar to invoke, but like that, I think there was one run where he like ran up into the line and like it was dead in the water. The tackle or like the end or someone broke in on his right. He like manages to like jump back around him and turn his jets. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he managed to turn his jets around the edge to get like a 5-yard gain out of what would have been a tackle for a loss. Like you can see his patience and his ability. Like he's still got to get even a little more patient, I think, because once he turns on his jets, he's sort of like he gets stopped a little more. Like he's got to keep his eyes open when he's getting downfield into the secondary, I think, a little bit more. But man, the signs are there. This kid is going to be something special the more and more experience he gets.
I agree. He's looking really good.
Yeah, and I hope we can just use him more, especially in the pass game. I want to see just a little more out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, can we is Ben Johnson? I don't want to say overrated, but like there's just some things about him that bug me, like in the way he calls his offense. Like it just seems like he always ends up falling into this stretch of the game where the other team just sees everything he's doing and shuts it all down, and then maybe he comes back alive, like third quarter, I guess.
There were times when it was execution today, but I say overall, Johnson did not call a great game overall.
No, this is the second worst game of the year offensive play call.
What was it last week?
Ravens.
Oh, what about last week when we went dead silent for like 5 drives in the middle of the game and went 3 and out mostly? Like he does that though. He has this times where he just kind of like his play calling just sort of starts to slack off, and like they get predictable and we stall out a lot. Like,
I think sometimes he's too patient. Even like have a little more urgency sometimes. Aggression too. No, you're right on that point. Aggression is important. Like we need to be throwing at least one to JMO every game. We haven't really thrown him any.
Well, they threw him one.
Yeah, well,
it was short.
You count
the
that
one we throw to him, we get pressure up the middle, so we just don't go to him again. Like the dude's a deadly weapon. You gotta keep him used.
Yeah.
And Jared, like you said, the perception of Jared Goff's arm, whatever. Like he doesn't have the strongest arm, but that's fine. But like he can hit the long ball. But you gotta like actually dial it up.
He's gotta actually throw one.
Hey, exactly. You gotta dial it up, and it can't be like, oh, like they kept a safety back, can't throw it. You got Jameson, he's deadly fast. Chuck it.
When's the last time you've seen Goff step into one and really throw one? When's the last one?
Yeah,
name it.
I can't think of one.
I can't either. Maybe the one to Khalif Raymond last year.
I don't know. Like rollout pass where he threw it back across the field. That was fantastic.
Just name the last time Goff stepped into one and heaved one.
But like,
deep.
think about last year. Like he hit deep balls on the sideline to Chark. He hit those kind of passes. We were throwing them. This year, I haven't seen it. I had not seen us hit the.
Oh, what about the
deep balls.
in Tampa Bay? The Tampa Bay one to JMO.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, which I'm trying to remember.
JMO had a 40-yard touchdown catch.
Now that was it. Yeah, that was one there. Okay.
Yeah, slightly across the field.
He came up with one.
That was a crosser though, right? It was like a deep crosser into the right corner of the end zone.
It was the deep flood. It was a flood route, and he was the deep route on it. Like it was a deep corner, I guess.
That was a huge play.
We attack the deep part of the field. What we don't attack is the deep sidelines, like with verticals, just straight verticals, like. Stress, because
find the turkey hole, right?
You got it.
Well,
not even the turkey hole. Like you got to stress the secondary, the deep part of the secondary, consistently, or otherwise, I'm telling you, the part of our problem is they settle into this little cone of area we love to operate, and now we're seeing like a good defense like the Bears that's stingy isn't giving you a whole lot of opportunity like some defenses will, and. When you play a defense like that, you can't just take what they give you because they're going to give you very, very little. You got to enforce your will and hit the deep part of the field and design plays that aren't only okay. Well, once the guy goes that way, well, it's the plays off. Don't dink it. We dink it way too much sometimes. In a game against a good defense, we dinked it way too much today.
It's hard to be truly overly critical because I mean this is still like one of the top 5 offenses in the NFL. Something I noticed today, and it's like when everything's just not going quite right, especially in the pass game, and you have a guy like Jared Goff at quarterback, and then you go watch a game like the Kansas City and the Buffalo, and you have a guy with the athletic ability of a Josh Allen, where it's just not going right offensively, but he has the escapability and kind of the magician-like quality to make things happen when everything's just not going right.
Right.
Jared Goff definitely does not have that trait.
No.
He does not have that trait.
He has no escapability whatsoever. The most escapability I saw him, or most athletic thing we saw him, was that Monty dropped like a 10-yard catch on a key third down. I can't remember. I think it was last week against the Saints.
Yeah, it
right?
was at the end of the game.
He like jump throw, sidearm throw to the side. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that was rare, but it just. I think we talked about it too. Like, does Hendon Hooker have the qualities that they're waiting for?
Are you hearing the Hendon Hooker?
I don't know. I need to go back and watch his college tape a little more. It's been a minute, but
oh my God, no, Hendon Hooker's not going to be immediately better than Jared Goff.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you are, but like I think people actually have this in their mind that Hendon Hooker would actually step in, and just because he's got good legs, would instantly be like an upgrade over Jared Goff. Just because,
no.
Like,
well,
struggles
physically, in some respects, he is going to be an upgrade. Physically, he can throw the ball farther and better. I don't know if more accurate. He can definitely run, and he's more elusive. So he's got those two things right there. And if you're talking about like JMO all the time, and a guy you can get it down there, he can. He definitely can. I've seen him do it in college. He's got a rocket arm.
Golf can too. Dear God. Okay,
I'm just saying your offense is limited sometimes when especially in today's NFL, where almost more than half the league's quarterbacks can have like the escapability that Goff does not.
I think the reality is here, though, if you're looking ahead, I don't think the Lions extend Goff this offseason. I think they let him go into next season and then fight it out with Hendon Hooker and see how it plays out. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just like the reality of the NFL, like Z says, you look at all these teams, these quarterbacks, you just need some level of elusiveness that Goff does not possess.
I love Goff.
I do too. And look, in the right system, when he's got the good protection, he's got people around him. He's obviously really good. We've seen it all year long. So
yes, I just want to say I agree. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Like, I love Jared Goff, but even I hear the little Hendon Hooker whispers in the back of my ear because I do see the more complete skill set. Like, in terms of just that escapability potentially, because he's got a little better legs. Like, and like you see, like I agree, Z. You see these other teams, especially. I love but it's here's the thing: you can easily throw Jared Goff out with the bathwater, so to speak, because every time he looks bad, it does look bad. Like, it looks bad. Like, every time he does bad, it looks bad, and I think that makes. But like he is so much more than like the struggles of escaping the pocket. He's like such an excellent pocket passer. And also, like how many of these running quarterbacks also get absolutely trashed before they actually turn into something good? Like, people don't even know if Fields is going to stay with the Bears, but he's a great running back, who can chuck the ball pretty good sometimes, and he is looking better. Don't get me wrong; I think he could be really good, and I kind of hope he does not. But like a lot of these running quarterbacks don't necessarily pan out. And I still think it's hard to replace Jared Goff because he is a very good quarterback.
Yeah. Well, we'll have more to talk about that, especially in the offseason. But
true.
There is one other thing I want to point out. It's a glaring weakness of Dan Campbell. We love Dan Campbell, right? I want to leave it that.
Yes.
But my God, he does not know how to challenge. He is an awful, awful challenger.
The worst.
He is one of the worst challengers I've ever seen. Like, he never wins.
Take that red flag out of his pocket and give it to another coach.
Who is advising him on these challenges?
That's what I want to know, Z. Like,
it was on their sideline. They should clearly see that was not even a challengeable play.
No, and like, is he waiting for advisement from the booth, or like?
You'd imagine.
Here's my guess though, because I think I got a decent bead on Dan Campbell's mentality, and I do think he's a very instinctive guy, even though he's very smart, but he also very much leans into instinct. And I feel like he's even said this before. Maybe that's why I know it. But like I bet he was like, you know what? We just need something to happen right now. That ball kind of moved as he was falling. Maybe it's worth the chance. And just tossed it. Like, and
I mean,
you know
if the Lions need a timeout late in that game,
but like
exactly
either that
I don't
or
agree
like
with that notion.
Like you need to fire the booth guy because that guy's giving him terrible advice.
Right. So I don't know what's going on there, but I mean, in his whole tenure he's been here, he's been a horrible challenger. This is not something new.
Oh, it's weird.
But
and he said that before, I think. Oh, sorry, go you, Jay.
No, I mean, you talk about Campbell's personality, and that leads to him going for that fourth down all the time, including that from our own 30-yard line today, which turned out to be disastrous. But I think this is the way he feels about this team. He challenges this team every time. Like, we're going to do this thing, and if we don't, then the challenge on us is to fix it. And the guys have been up for it all season long, but sometimes.
Hey, though, the defense responded.
Discretion is the better part of valor sometimes.
Defense held to a field goal on that drive.
To a field goal, yeah, they did.
I'm telling you, that defense, like, I know they battled today, man. I don't care what the score says.
They did.
They
for sure.
showed something today, especially in generating pass rush. That was very encouraging because I believe with like almost 100% certainty that this offense is going to bounce back from this performance. Like, look whenever Dan Campbell focuses his attention on something, you generally see improvement. And I think it's clear that he focused on that defensive pass rush this week, and you saw a serious improvement. Well, I think it's a safe bet he's going to be looking at that offense next week and cleaning up all that crap that we saw today. And I think we're going to see a serious bounce back from this offense because Lions hadn't bounced back down the street. That's right. Wait, how? Oh, I'm telling you this. KJ's putting up little things. But yeah, anyway, I just think he's going to put his attention on this offense, and we're going to see dramatic improvement because I still think they're barely scratching the surface of their potential.
So before we wrap up here, I do want to just update on where the Lions stand. The 1 seed is pretty much it's going to take a lot of help to get there, especially with the Lions have lost their third conference game. The Eagles and 49ers. Eagles and Cowboys are playing right now, but both of them would have a tiebreaker over the Lions for any 1 seed. And then the 49ers are right there at 10-3. The Lions fall to 9-4. They're the 3 seed still. I mean, the Buccaneers they are the 4 seed now after beating Atlanta. If the season ended today, the Lions would still be playing the Vikings, who won 3-0 over the Raiders. 3-0.
Wow.
And they are still alive. And the Lions play them 2 of the last 3 games. Their offense looks rough, though. They switched quarterbacks midway through the game. It did not work for the most part. It worked just enough, I suppose. The Packers play tomorrow night. If they're playing the Giants, they're favored. If they win that game, they go to 7-6. And the Lions have only a 2-game lead in the division with 4 to go.
Yeah,
it's not a done deal. And this is the Lions we're talking about. It's far from a done deal. That's for certain. But the Lions, their remaining schedule is they get a much needed home game. The Lions have a lot of road games to end the season here.
Yeah.
But they badly need this home game, the Detroit crowd, to jolt them back into double-digit win territory. And that's a primetime game on Saturday night at 7:15 Central.
Aren't we better on the road?
Well, now
Overall?
It's even.
Oh, after that today.
Yeah.
Today was our last outdoor game of the regular season, though. So
yes,
that
thank
could
God.
Be favorable.
That's definitely favorable, especially for our offense. It definitely operates better on the turf. Especially in Goff's tenure, the numbers pan out that way, or his career, really, outdoor versus indoor.
I wonder if that's pretty consistent for most quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
During the week, at least.
So yeah. So anyways, we play the Broncos, and the Broncos they've turned their season around. It's also Dan Campbell's mentor, Sean Payton. So that's a big factor there too. I
Yep.
think perhaps, and then 2 of the last 3 games
the master, but
at Minnesota, a really really tough game against the Cowboys, and at Dallas on Monday Night Football on December 30th.
Yep.
Is that Monday Night Football or
Watch that be like
That's
our
Saturday
biggest
Night Football?
blowout
2
of the
Saturday
year.
games against the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys look really good. They look really good tonight against the
Oh,
Eagles too.
I mean, no doubt.
They
But,
could be going for the 1 seed at that point.
But that's just like what I love about the league. You think like you can predict things based on the past, but they just often have very little bearing. Like, you just see the bad team destroys the top team. It's like I love it. Like football, it's so great.
And then the season ends on January 7th at home against the Vikings. That could be for the playoffs. It could be for the division. Hopefully it's wrapped up by then. But
Well, I hope so.
the Lions' schedule is a lot tougher than people thought down the stretch here because the Broncos got off to a horrible start. The Vikings got off to a horrible start. They
Yeah,
turned their
gauntlet.
seasons around. So all winning teams to end the season.
The same team twice in 3 games.
It's
is
goofy.
Tough, no matter
It's
who
goofy
you put in
scheduling.
that slot. Like
Yeah.
beating a team twice in 3 weeks is hard, no matter how you cut it. And the thought that we could potentially see them for a 3rd week in a row in the playoffs, or not, it wouldn't be a 3rd week in a row, but 3rd time in a row.
Yeah.
like that's so wild.
That would be truly wild to see a team 3 out of the last 4 weeks.
But at least theoretically, we've hit our valley now, and we'll be hitting the upslope in this next stretch.
Well, that's what I'm hoping.
You know, like a lot of these teams are hitting their strides. Like they showed a lot of these other quarterbacks and stuff that had great ratings this week, like the Ravens and blah blah blah, and like I just think the Lions are just a little behind that curve. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because I'd rather be peeking into the playoffs than before the playoffs.
That's a good point. They've been
Assuming
kind of
we peak.
yeah, right.
I mean, I think the bigger threat to the division right now is the Packers because their schedule stinks down the stretch. They're at New York Giants, play the Tampa Bay Bucks, at Panthers. The Panthers are a truly, truly horrendous team. And
they're
they don't
bad.
have their first pick.
I know.
Which unfortunately is to the Bears, of course, and then at Minnesota, then against the Bears in the season.
Packers got some weapons. They got the good defensive pass rush.
Well,
That
Watson's
Jordan
hurt for them
Love's getting
again.
better.
Yeah. 4 games left. We're 2-game lead, and it's not a given.
Nope.
It's not a given, but also we're very much in the driver's seat, baby.
That too.
Like,
That
you
too.
Well, yeah, I'd rather be ahead than behind. That's for sure.
Right, like
For sure.
honestly, I'm pretty sure today was our very first one of the season where we gave up a lead and lost.
Well, if Green Bay somehow loses tomorrow, the Bears would only be 1 game out of the playoffs.
Like, have we
That's
blown a lead besides today this season once? I don't think we
Mm.
have.
Good point. Might have. I don't know.
We almost blew it against the Saints. We
But
didn't.
we didn't.
But we didn't.
I don't think we did.
Well, the
we
Ravens, we
had-
never even sniffed a lead.
Yeah, I don't think we ever sniffed one.
The
Seahawks,
Seahawks?
maybe we had a lead. I don't think maybe we tied, but I don't feel like maybe we had a lead early, but I don't know. I don't remember us ever blowing a lead this year. Like we've been really good at protecting our leads for the most part till
We
today.
blew a lead against Seattle. We were up 14-7.
Oh,
at the end of the
okay,
half.
pretty early. Hey, well,
Then
Still,
21-14. Then
like-
21-17.
like that's pretty good though. We've lost 4 games this year. We haven't lost 2 games in a row. We've only blown 2 leads. Like how many teams can put that together in a sentence? I don't think there's very
Not too
many.
many.
They just
That's
got to
amazing.
play their asses out the last 4 games. Don't even look at the scoreboard. Every play like it's your last
Yes.
play of your life, and just go out
Yes.
there and don't even worry about the score. Fuck it. Just
100
go out there and
UJ.
play as hard as you can, man.
Live every play like
Chips-
it's your last.
Chips fall where they may.
Definitely.
And like seeing Hutch how angry he was after today, I think he's gonna be a terror for the rest of the season. He's already practically a terror, but like I just think he's found a new level today. He finally started kind of figuring something out. Because I really do
Let's
think
hope.
Glenn puts this defense in a tough position and really demands a lot. And we finally saw them kind of starting to figure that out today. And I'm very, very excited about the future of this team still.
Well, we'll be talking about that game on Saturday later this week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for everybody that joined us on YouTube here at DTBK. If you're listening on a podcast, so go to YouTube, subscribe, search at DTBK or Drinking the Blue Kool-Aid. Follow us, our channel, so you can hit all our live streams up. Instagram at Drinking the Blue Kool-Aid, Twitter /X at Drinking Lions. Thank you to SidelineReport.com for supporting the podcast. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you to all our listeners. We really, truly appreciate you, especially sticking with us, especially after a loss like this. And we want to, of course, especially thank our producer, Kid J. Kid J. Hooray! All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We greatly appreciate you, and we'll be back later this week previewing the Lions' tough home matchup against the Denver Broncos, the resurgent Denver Broncos. The Broncos who are only one game out of their division after the Chiefs lost. Oh, just really quick. Did you guys see the Travis Kelce lateral play that did not count? That's that was one of the greatest plays you'll see not count in the NFL.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant, actually.
The Chiefs had the ball in midfield. All they needed was a field goal to at least tie the game, send it overtime. This was like with 50 seconds left. Kelce catches it over the right middle, kind of the right hash, and he breaks like a tackle, and there's two guys approaching him, and he throws like probably a 15-yard pass backwards across the field to his left.
A perfect spiral.
Perfect spiral. And Kadarius Toney walks into the end zone 20 yards later. It was like a hook and ladder kind of throw, and it didn't count because Kadarius Toney lined up offsides as a wide receiver, which you never see. Usually the ref corrects you and gets you lined up correctly. I mean, he was blatantly offside. It was the correct call technically, but the Chiefs were mad because they didn't correct him because usually they do that thing. But maybe they're moving too fast. I don't know. But anyways, that was wild. But thank you, everybody, for listening to the podcast. We'll be back later this week. And last but not least, as always, go